The moment I laid eyes on that oval painting, reality began to splinter, and the fog swallowed all that was left of me. On a biting autumn evening, the mansion loomed ahead, its skeletal bones wrapped in relentless fog that clung like cold fingers to the desolate coastal town. I stood frozen at the threshold of that crumbling Victorian relic, now a gallery drowning in peeling paint, where walls wept brittle flakes like skin forgotten by time. The warped wood sighed under unseen burdens, whispers of a decay so slow it was nearly a pulse, an invisible heartbeat pressed against my skin, damp and clammy as if the house itself mourned a story long untold. A scent rose, musty boards steeped in the ghost of turpentine, sharp with the briny kiss of the sea wafting through cracked window panes, a breath of memory that churned uneasily with salt and rot. Drawn forward by rumors whispered in trembling echoes of a cursed portrait that ensnares the soul of any who dare cross its gaze. I, a writer shackled by an unexplainable tether to the woman frozen in oil and pigment, crossed into the gallery's decayed heart. Creaking floorboards moaned beneath my cautious steps, each cool plank a frozen wave beneath the storm of night, and the air whispered in thick viscosity, tasting of dried petals rotting in shadow and drying oil. Outside, the fog thickened, swallowing distant murmurs of the sea, until silence folded around the mansion like a shroud. The gallery stretched emptily, abstract shapes clinging to walls a pale echo, but none bore weight like the shadow-dark alcove that held the oval portrait. There it hung, askew, framed in polished darkness carved with tendrils like living tattoos, delicate and twisting, pulsing faintly beneath my trembling fingertips as if breathing. The young woman's eyes flickered with unnatural life under flickering light, glistening, shards of glass trapping storms and soft storms trapped in glass. Her delicate smile curled enigmatically, subtle yet knowing, but her gaze was a raptor's prison, alive and hungry, binding me with silk-threaded chains I could neither see nor sever. Her skin glowed faintly, translucent as if moonlight draped in waxen veil, her face eclipsed against a background cracked and fragmented like twilight splintered on glass shards. Whispering, a breath spilled from me. Who were you? But the silence that followed was dense and unyielding, a wall of velvet blackness pressing close. Hours drained into nights, visits blurred, time unraveling like thin thread between shaking fingers. Each return drew me deeper into the spell she wove, an intoxicating web stitched with shadows that stretched and pulled. Outside, the fog thickened, swallowing the distant sea's lament beneath a suffocating quiet, as if the world itself held its breath. The mansion seemed a living thing, breathing slow and low, a sorrow carved from stone and sighs. Then the first shudder. The ancient chandelier overhead convulsed, lighting spasmodic shadows like claws scraping desperate walls. In the brief, flickering absence of light, I caught it, a subtle twist of her smile, once soft, now darkened into a knowing curl, a secret threat whispered beneath my skin. I forced laughter, brittle and false, muttering, "Old wiring, nothing but old wiring," while my heart pounded with the urgency of whispered warnings. Days collapsed, reality melting like wax beneath the candle's flame into a fevered obsession. One moment, my fingertips brushed the frame's sinister carvings. A shiver surged, crawling like living frost along skin and bone, a silent pulse beneath the grain. The air thickened then, dense as spilled ink, whispers unfurling like smoke from cracked plaster, echoes of secrets just beyond reach, sighing in tongues I could not understand. Shadows folded in impossible layers, deepening around the painting's edges, swallowing light whole. In a single, horrific instant, my reflection shattered in a fractured pane nearby. For one breath, my face was replaced, twisted into her ravenous grin, eyes gleaming with cruel hunger. This can't be, I gasped, staggering back, the cold dread like ice water dripping into my veins. Yet beneath that terror, an invisible thread pulled me forward, drawn magnetic and helpless into the abyss of her twisted smile. The line between us dissolved, a veil torn, reflection merging, mutating, haunted by an intrusion older than time. One storm-racked night, the mansion groaned beneath the fury of rising winds that bent ancient trees to their deadly wills, when a gallery assistant appeared, a stooped, gaunt man whose eyes held hollows filled with unshed dread. His voice, brittle as dry leaves shattered by the gale, whispered, "You shouldn't linger so long. The portrait steals more than time." It swallowed others whole. Pride masked my fear, and I turned away. Yet his words sank beneath my skin, frost creeping into marrow, their chill tightening around me amid the thickening fog. Sleep fled. Nights fractured into nightmares, Visions where I stood trapped behind the glass, her eyes shifting from enigmatic promise to desolate despair, a silent scream caught forever between brushstrokes. On the final night, the fog closed in to suffocate the world, choking out even pale light until silence roared in its stead. The mansion's creaks and groans became a dirge, an elegy whispered in the language of wood and stone. I sat before the portrait, tremors rippling through me in a cold symphony of dread and fierce fascination. Her eyes ignited with an otherworldly glow, terrible and beautiful, throbbing softly like embers breathing their final sigh. The canvas shimmered, liquid darkness roiling beneath my gaze, a pool turning to glass, then sea, inviting and merciless. From that abyss emerged a cold, ethereal hand brushing my cheek with frost so pure it numbed flesh and bone, a chill that stole breath and scattered thoughts like brittle leaves caught in autumn's last gust. Agony blade, sharp exploded in my mind, fragments of self cracked and spilled, dissolving in the grip of an ancient hunger. The assistant's warning tore like thunder through my soul. The painting devours the essence of its beholders. I clawed at the fading edges of my identity, desperate to grasp itself and escape, but the boundaries thinned, then broke. I slipped through the narrowing crack and dissolved into the cursed embrace. In a breathless heartbeat, my reflection vanished, replaced fully, overridden. Hers, the smile no longer subtle but a cruel edict demanding ownership. I was becoming her, a prisoner entombed forever within the oval frame, the newest lost soul trapped by obsession's merciless grasp. Outside, the insatiable fog slurped the mansion whole, swallowing all sound, all light, leaving behind only a suffocating silence, and a silent gallery harboring a fresh haunting, my painted face forever caught in the unyielding snare of the portrait's curse. Could you resist a portrait that knows your darkest secrets? Share your own haunted art stories below.